This is David Boje, and Professor Khadija asked me to tell you what is storytelling so you can use it on a really challenging interview assignment. And all the best to you. Hi, I'm David Boje, and my good friend Professor Khadija, an eminent scholar, has asked me to do a video on storytelling to help you go and interview African American people. First of all, drop all the list of questions and just say, tell me your story. This is a conversational interviewing, so don't do structured interview questions, make a big list of questions in advance. Just start with tell me your story and have a conversation that you record. The reason is if you start with a bunch of questions, you're going to get either narratives or counter-narratives of stereotypes of African Americans. So you're going to get the common sense filtered through those structural interview questions. The conversation will take you into storytelling and possibly out of the stereotypes. Keep in mind that those narratives, grand narratives that we have about African Americans, we the Anglos, we the non-African Americans, those stereotypes proliferate throughout American culture. And the counter narratives are not much better. Now, to get to a living story, what I would recommend is look at experiences in space, in time, and in mattering. And by mattering, I mean the physical, the materiality, what we're talking about when we say quantum, blood. So not everybody that's black is African American. And there's a good deal of multiplicity of differences among African Americans. So you can't come up with a single beginning, middle, end narrative of African Americans. So those questions you start with, throw them out. The next thing is to get in touch with places in which they've had these experiences and specific times where actual experiences happened. And this is why tell me your story and getting to a conversational mode is what you would want to do storytelling. So storytelling, just to summarize, and I'm here in my blacksmith shop, so let me tell you a little bit about blacksmithing. So here, this is coke. That's coke from having burned the coal. Coal initially looks black like this, and after you coke it and you use it for a while, you get slugs or slag. And these slags are kind of glass and impurities coming out of the coal. So coal starts like this, looks like that, and you get hopefully a good coke. And that coke is excellent for heating up the iron so that you can bend it. Now, just heat it up a little bit here and show you a little bit about blacksmithing. Because I work out a lot of my theories here in the blacksmith shop, and understanding the color black in blacksmithing is a kind of cool segue to interviewing somebody that's African American. First of all, they're not all going to be the same color. They're not all going to have the quantum blood. By quantum blood, I mean the background from Africa, knowing your tribe and knowing your heritage, knowing your language, knowing the customs from Africa. So there's a good deal of multiplicity. I am a multiplicity. I'm Anglo, but I'm half on this side Scottish, and half on this side of me is Danish. And yet, I've only visited Scotland a few times, and I've visited Denmark half a dozen times, And so I know very little about my own heritage, and I question whether any of you really know much about your own ethnic or racial heritage. So let's get past the structured questions, get to a conversational mode where you're actually sharing about your own identity, your own ethnicity, your own raciality, and how that takes place in the United States. How that takes place in the prison systems where minorities, and particularly African Americans, are way overrepresented in the prison population. And the United States has the biggest prison population in the world. So let's look critically at the storytelling and get beneath the narratives of society, those stereotypes called common sense, down to space, time, and mattering of the storytelling itself. Now we've got a little bit of heat here. Not enough though. I'm going to have to turn the fan on, which is a little loud, and so I'll heat it up while the sound is off, okay? Okay, let me turn the fan off. Now we got a good heat. You can see it's nice red. You take a good hammer with a smooth face on it, no dents. Good anvil. Turn it. So we're making the random piece square. And I'll just draw it to a point for you. Now while that's hot, you can go ahead and bend that. And let's make a little handle here. Just so you can kind of see how it works. And there we go. So here's a little bit of blacksmithing for you. So say hi to Khadija. Have good fortune doing your storytelling. And remember that storytelling is a combination of narrative, counter-narrative, living stories in space, time, and mattering, and those particular untold stories. Now there's also an advanced level called anti-narrative, and that is something I call the heart of care, and caring for your own storytelling, the anti-narrative, caring for the future, and bets that you make on the future and what you're going to bring about in your life. And this is before narrative and counter-narrative cohere into stereotypes, and it can even be before living story and untold story. And so you have anti-narrative processes, ANTE narrative. And these are excellent for understanding what's beneath the narrative, like concepts and language and symbols that are very prominent in each of your ethnic and racial communities in order for you to make sense of your own identity. So anti-narrative is something that's one part of storytelling. The narrative counter-narrative is another part, and the living story and untold story finishes up, and that's the whole heart of storytelling. So good luck. Thank you.